people who destroy you the most aren't the ones who hate you, they're the ones who need you. If you still believe that saving people is always a virtue, then you may be practicing every single day one of the fastest ways to destroy yourself. And here's the shock. Some people, the moment you reach out your hand to help them, they don't rise with you, they pull you down. And the most gut-twisting contradiction of all, sometimes the kindest thing you can do is stop being kind in the wrong way. Now, imagine there were a 10-second test that could reveal the person most likely to burn you out without ever looking dangerous. The test is simple. The moment they ask you for something, do they make you rush? Do they make you feel guilty? Do they make you justify yourself? Do they make you defend yourself? If the answer is yes, then chances are this is not a request, it's manipulation. And over time, manipulation becomes a pattern, and patterns become fate. Let me start with a simple scene, not dramatic, just painfully real. You're holding your phone, you see the name on the screen, and before you even answer, your body tightens, your heartbeat rises, your shoulders tense, your mind whispers, "Please, not right now." It's the same person, the same voice, the same line, "I'm in trouble." And sometimes, before they even finish speaking, you've already told yourself, "Okay." That's where the damage begins, because you don't just respond, you transform. You slip into rescue mode, your eyes dart, your mind overheats, your heart tells you that you have to jump in. You leave your work, you sacrifice your sleep, you cancel your plans, you do whatever needs to be done, and then later you realize that you were the one who got wounded, while they, most likely, they just keep moving as if nothing happened. So why do you say okay before you even know what the problem is? Because you were conditioned to believe that your value comes from saving other people. And that isn't love, it's a hidden contract, a contract with no signature. I'll be the rescuer so I can feel important. But that contract has a price, and most of the time, it gets paid in one currency, your self-respect. Now here's an uncomfortable question, and answer it only to yourself. How many times have you said, "This is the last time I help, the last time I lend money, the last time I forgive, the last time I tolerate this"? And how many days later did you slip right back into the same role? If that has happened to you, stay with me until the end, because what we're talking about today is not relationship advice. It's a lesson in dark psychology, human behavior, and the power dynamics operating inside every relationship, from home to work. About 500 years ago, Machiavelli, in The Prince, wrote to people in power, and what he said plainly was this: the one who tries to be good in every situation among people who often are not will most likely end up humiliated and broken. And he also warned that the person who studies what should happen while ignoring what actually happens is walking straight to ruin. And in that same spirit, Machiavelli believed that people judge more with their eyes than with their hands, meaning they judge appearances more than depth. Only a few ever truly touch the truth. People will see that you are kind, but they won't see that you are being consumed alive on the inside.
And that meaning is terrifying, because it shatters one of the most beautiful myths we've been taught to believe. Anyone can be fixed if you love them enough. No, not everyone. And more importantly, not everyone wants to be fixed. Today, we're going to perform surgery on your conscience. We're going to remove the blind kindness that turns you into prey. Not so you become cruel, but so you become aware. We're going to talk about 6 human types. 6 who, if you try to save them without boundaries, will drain your energy, distort your decisions, damage your reputation, and then leave you to drown. But before we get into the 6, you need to understand the rescuer trap. Why do you do this in the first place? Why does no feel like betrayal? Why do you feel that if you don't save them, you must be a bad person? There are 3 drives that pull you into it. The first, the need for appreciation. You wait for a thank you to fill an emptiness. The second, fear of rejection. You're afraid to say no because you don't want to be called selfish or abandoned. The third, the illusion of control. You believe that if you control their problems, you can control your anxiety. But all of that does one thing. It removes you from the role of partner and places you in the role of employee in their life. A major part of this is what we call codependency. That's when a relationship turns into an unbalanced scale. One person is always carrying, and the other is always being carried. And then, in a strange twist, the person being carried starts asking for more and becomes offended when denied. And you feel that inner pressure. If I refuse, I'm cruel. And that is exactly what makes this role so addictive. You feel good when you're exhausted. In social psychology, there's a model called the threat to self-esteem model, and it explains that receiving help can sometimes be interpreted by the receiver as a threat to dignity and independence, creating resentment instead of gratitude. Meaning, you may be offering goodness while they are hearing something else. You are beneath me. I need you. So they resent you, resist you, or punish you. And this connects to another idea, psychological reactance. When you try to fix someone who never asked for it, many people feel that their freedom is being threatened, so they resist and sometimes do the exact opposite. So there you are, dragging someone toward survival while they resist survival just to prove they are in control. And this is the part most people overlook. The rescuer often interprets this resistance as weakness, but no, sometimes that resistance is a decision. Some people choose chaos because chaos gets them attention. Some people choose brokenness because brokenness gives them an excuse. And of course, if you stay in that role for years, your body will eventually pay the bill. Chronic stress does not stay in the mind. It spills into sleep, blood pressure, immunity, and the body itself. And the darkest part? One day you realize you're losing your health for people who would not lose a single minute for you. And this is where Stoicism enters, especially Epictetus and the dichotomy of control. There are things within your control, your decisions, your principles, your reactions, your boundaries. And there are things outside your control, people's personalities, their choices, their intentions, their history.
The greatest prison is trying to control what was never yours to control. And the greatest freedom is returning your focus to what is yours while leaving the storm outside. Let's make this concrete with a simple metaphor. Imagine your life is a ship. That ship has space, supplies, and a crew. If you let just anyone on board because they are screaming, eventually you will discover that some punch holes in the boat from the inside, some steal the supplies, some create chaos, and in the end, the ship sinks, along with the people who actually deserved safety. A good captain is not just someone with a kind heart. A good captain is someone who decides who gets on the ship. Before we continue, remember a small principle from Robert Greene's Laws of Power. The one who defines the meaning of the situation holds the power. That is frame control. Meaning, if they can make you believe you are obligated to save them, it's over. But if you can turn the situation back into a choice instead of an obligation, you take your power back. Now let's add 6 tactics you'll use throughout this video. And these are not self-help slogans, they are survival tools. Silence as dominance, fogging, strategic indifference, frame control, question reversal, and agree and amplify. One of these will save you in a real situation sooner than you think. Remember that. Take frame control, for example. The weak response, okay, tell me what you need. You accepted the frame of I'm responsible. The strong response, I'm not responsible for your decision. I'm responsible for mine. I can listen and offer input, but the action is on you. Now the frame becomes your responsibility. Take fogging. The weak response, no, I'm not selfish, you're being unfair. You enter defense mode. The strong response, maybe, and still no. You absorb the attack and close the door. Take strategic indifference. The weak response, you're provoking me and I'll prove you wrong. You got pulled in. The strong response, okay, pause, suit yourself.
You removed the fuel. Take question reversal. The weak response, okay, what should I do for you? Your attention is trapped inside their need. The strong response, what are you going to do for yourself? You return responsibility to its rightful owner. And take agree and amplify. The weak response, no, you're wrong. You opened a debate. The strong response, yeah, maybe. Maybe I really am not the right fit for this game. You break their attempt to pull you in. And finally, silence as dominance. The weak response, a long justification with fear in your voice. The strong response, one short sentence, then silence, then a change of subject. The silence is not empty. The silence is a message, I am not under interrogation. Now, if you truly understand these tools, you'll notice something important. The 6 types coming up are not simply a problem of bad people. The deeper problem is that they know how to press your buttons.
And watch for 5 signs. If they appear early, chances are you are dealing with one of the 6. The first sign, unnatural urgency, right now. The second sign, instant guilt, if you love me. The third sign, diminishing your worth, a small insult hidden inside a laugh. The fourth sign, a request with no reciprocity, no commitment, no plan, no responsibility. The fifth sign, punishment after your boundary, coldness, silence, smearing, or playing the victim. If you notice even 2 of these signs, stop. Ask yourself, am I helping or am I being pulled in? And the question that flips the table every time is this: why me? Why not someone else? If the silent answer is because you are the easiest to control, then you have just woken up. And let me tell you something clearly. There is such a thing as therapeutic darkness. Sometimes you think that by rescuing someone, you are doing good, when in reality, you are stealing the lesson from them. Every time they fall and you lift them back up, you prevent them from feeling the full weight of their choices. You interrupt cause and effect, and by doing that, you prolong their illness while shortening your own life. Machiavelli used the image of the fox and the lion. Be a fox so you can see the trap, and a lion so no one can devour you. The fox here is social intelligence, knowing when niceness becomes bait, and the lion here is boundaries, knowing how to say no without trembling. Pattern interrupt. If someone lives their entire life without consequences, they do not change. Consequences are not revenge. Consequences are treatment, and sometimes the only consequence you can offer is your absence. And here's a quick exercise. It may sound simple, but it changes lives. Before any yes to any request, pause for 3 seconds. That pause separates reaction from decision, and you will discover that many requests, when you do not answer immediately, dissolve on their own, because some people never needed help. They needed obedience. The moment they realize you do not obey quickly, they go looking for someone else. And that by itself is a powerful form of filtering. Never underestimate the power of that pause. It is the beginning of silence as dominance in its simplest form, refusing to let anyone control the speed of your response. The one who controls your speed controls you. Now, the 6. And be careful, after this video, you'll start noticing details you never saw before. And that is the dangerous thing about awareness. Once you see, you cannot unsee. The first type is the person who makes you feel that you must save them right now, or else you're a monster. And that is one of the most dangerous forms of manipulation: urgency.
Type 1, the chaos engineer. This is the person who always seems to have a storm following them, but not because they are unlucky, because they create disaster with their own hands. One time they got fired. One time the car got wrecked. One time they fought with the boss. One time they got into the wrong relationship. One time they got scammed. One time the world is against them. At first, your heart softens. You say to yourself, poor thing. They just never catch a break. So you step in to save them. Money, a job recommendation, a place to stay, advice, a phone call, a favor. Then you get a week of calm, maybe 2, and then the same ringtone again. Please, I'm stuck. Pattern interrupt. Ask yourself, is disaster happening to them, or are they generating it? There is a difference between bad luck and bad judgment, and the chaos engineer usually shows 3 signs. They make impulsive decisions, they hate planning, and they hate admitting they were wrong. The most dangerous part? They always tell the story as if they are the noble hero and the entire universe is evil. They bring you evidence, but all of it points against other people, never against them. And that forces you into a false choice. Either stand with them or become the enemy. That is frame control. They write the script and you walk in to play your role. A work scene. You get them an opportunity on a respectable team. The first week, everything is fine. 2 weeks later, friction starts. Every meeting ends with a story. My manager is targeting me. You offer advice. Take it easy. They reply, you don't understand. I'm being wronged. A month later, a major problem erupts, and it turns out they were the one who broke the system. They were the one who lied. They were the one performing as the victim. And then you look around and see the expression on people's faces. You're the one who brought this person here? That is not just an energy drain. That is a direct threat to your reputation. And here comes the hard question. Why do you stay beside them? Because sometimes the chaos engineer makes you feel important. You are the fixer. You are the rescuer. You are the one calming the storm. And that feeds your ego. Yes, your ego, not your conscience. Your conscience says, help with limits. Your ego says, I'm the only one who can fix them. The strategy here is question reversal, a responsibility contract, and a time limit. Any help you offer must be tied to a step they themselves must take. The weak response when they say, you have to help me right now. Okay, I'm coming. Tell me what you need.
The strong response.
I can help with one thing for a specific amount of time. After that, we need to see what you're going to do. What's your plan for the next 24 hours? And what are you committing to this week? If they become angry or start attacking you, that is proof that help was never the goal. What they wanted was emergency relief for their chaos, so they could continue the pattern. There's another technique here, the small contract. Tell them, I'll do this if you do that. If they disappear the moment they hear the word if, then what they wanted was rescue without cost, and they will keep repeating that. And the truth that must be said out loud is this: bad luck is not contagious, chaos is. Once it enters your life, it quietly devours your time, your standing, and your reputation. So if you want survival, you must learn one art, the art of withdrawing at the right time. Now let's move to the second type, the one who begins with love and ends with threat, the one who punishes you the moment you stop giving. Type 2, the bottomless well. This is the one who accepts your help and then resents you anyway. It starts with exaggerated gratitude. You're an angel. Then it shifts into entitlement. Well, this is only natural. Then accusation. You've changed. Then blackmail. I thought you were a real friend. This is not a request for help. This is the construction of entitlement. And entitlement, psychologically, is the belief that you deserve special treatment without paying the price for it. Here, your kindness becomes currency, and they want unlimited printing rights. Pattern interrupt. When someone helps you, do you thank them or do you keep extracting from them? If your answer is, I thank them, then you are not the well. If your answer is, I feel like they should, pay attention. The scene unfolds like this. Can you lend me money? Sure. A few weeks later, can you take care of this paperwork for me? Okay. Then, can you talk to this person for me? Sure.
And then one day you say, "I can't today." Suddenly you get silence, you get coldness, you get the sentence that cuts straight through you, "I thought." What they are doing is emotional punishment. And the disturbing part? Sometimes they do it in front of people. They hint, some people change the second life starts going their way. That is a social insult designed to pressure you in public. That is reputation play. And if fear takes over, you will pay. The strategy here? The no test, fogging, steady repetition, and reputation protection. The weak response? Okay, just so you won't be upset.
The strong response. You may see me as letting you down, but no, I can't. If they say, "What do you mean?" say, "No, I can't." If they repeat themselves, repeat the same sentence. Steady repetition breaks manipulation because it leaves no room for negotiation. And as Robert Greene suggests, the more you explain, the less control you appear to have. This is silence as dominance in another form. Silence from justification. Question reversal works here too. Okay, and what are you planning to do if I'm not here? That one question reveals everything. Either they actually think or they explode, and prove that they never saw you as a person, only a necessity. And in the end, you need to understand something painful. Sometimes the person you help the most begins to hate you. Why? Because your help reminds them of their weakness. And for some people, weakness is unbearable, so they convert it into anger toward the reminder, you. That is part of what the threat to self-esteem model points toward. Help can feel like humiliation, and humiliation often turns to hostility. So if you want to help, help once, with conditions, with a plan, and with a clear ending. Otherwise, you become a well, and a well, by definition, keeps getting drained. Now we go deeper, into darker territory. The type who laughs with you while their eyes are measuring you. The one who congratulates you, but secretly hopes you get laid. Type 3, the Smiling Saboteur. This is the one who uses envy, but never names it. They tell you, "I'm happy for you," and then slip in a thorn. Congrats on the promotion, but be careful, that company destroys people. Your project looks great, but the market is brutal right now. You look happy, but you have no idea what people are going to say. That is an insult wrapped in concern. And they don't need to attack you directly to hurt you. They only need to plant one small doubt in your mind and let it grow there. Pattern interrupt. Not every fearful piece of advice is fear for your sake. Sometimes the fear comes from one place. You are growing and I am standing still. And that is envy in its coldest form. The social scene is almost cinematic. You're sitting with people. You share good news. Everyone around you is genuinely happy. They smile too, but it's a fractured smile. Then they say in front of everyone, "But you've always been reckless." People laugh. You force a laugh too. But inside, heat, pressure, the urge to defend yourself.
And this is the real test. Will you walk into a defensive fight and look weak, or will you hold your nerve and look in control? The strategy: silence as dominance, strategic indifference, and reputation protection. The weak response: "You don't understand, I'm not reckless." The strong response: a small smile, a 2-second pause, maybe, then continue speaking to the people who actually wish you well. The silence here is not cowardice, it is the removal of oxygen, because the smiling saboteur feeds on your reaction. If they don't get one, they move on. Another technique, the disclosure filter. Be boring with the smiling saboteur. They ask, "How's work going?" The weak response: "I'm about to close a huge deal, and I'm doing this and that." The strong response: "Can't complain, just busy." Why? Because every piece of information you give to an envious person can be turned into a weapon. And the weapon is not always direct. They may leak information.
They may offer bad advice at a sensitive moment. They may create tension right before an important day. And there's another powerful move: reframing the attack. If they tell you, "I'm worried about you," say, "Okay, let's talk about you. How is your own plan going?" That is frame control combined with question reversal. You turn the spotlight back toward them. And envious people usually hate the spotlight because it forces them to face the fact that they are standing still. Nietzsche said something that fits here: whoever keeps fighting monsters may become one, and whoever stares too long into the abyss stares back. If you respond to every small jab, you become defensive, tense, and bitter, which means they succeeded in changing you. The answer: do not fight in their arena. Build your own. We're about halfway through this, and if you're still here, then something inside you already knows this matters, because most people think the dangerous ones are the people who hate you, but the deeper trap is the people who need you. They do not need to hate you to destroy you. It is enough that they know your weak point, guilt, and your desire to be the hero. And here's the bigger shock: some people need you not because they love you, but because they need to keep you occupied. Because if you ever became free, you might wake up, you might see clearly, and you might leave. So they keep you busy inside a game of depletion. And now we move into the most dangerous 3 patterns because they play with your heart, not just your time or your wallet. Type 4, the professional victim. This is not a situational victim who wants help getting out. This is an identity victim who wants to stay. And that is the essence of victim mentality. When weakness becomes an identity, not a temporary phase, they plant their pain like a field and harvest sympathy from it every season. A simple but lethal difference. A real victim says, "Help me get out." A professional victim says, "Help me stay," without responsibility. You'll hear lines like, "I'm depressed, so don't expect anything from me. I'm sensitive, so don't pressure me. I was hurt in the past, so you're not allowed to hold me accountable." And the moment you suggest a solution, you encounter strange resistance, as if the solution itself were an insult. Why? Because the solution threatens the source of their power, sympathy, and control through pity. At a certain point, pity turns into chains, and that is the moment the rescuer becomes a prisoner, not a hero. A relationship scene. She gets upset, she cries, she withdraws. You chase after her. You apologize, even when you're not wrong. You make concessions, and 2 days later, you're back in the same cycle. And notice what happens inside you. You feel that you have to fix the mood. You feel that silence is dangerous. You feel that if you leave her alone for even 1 minute, you might lose her. That is not love. That is a fear response, and it presses the exact same button: fear of rejection. There's another scene that appears often with a professional victim, and it exposes everything in seconds. They suddenly shut you out, withdrawal, blocking, or "I can't talk right now," and then leave you alone with your own spiraling thoughts. Your feelings tell you, "I did something wrong. I need to fix this." That is withdrawing intimacy as a control tactic, pulling away so that you chase. This is where frame control becomes crucial. The weak response, the rescuer. "Okay, just tell me what I did. I'm sorry. Don't leave me. I'll do anything." The strong response, the grounded one. "I'm ready to talk when the conversation is aimed at a solution. If you need time to calm down, take your time, but I won't be punished with silence." Notice the difference. You did not attack, but you did not kneel. A test question for the professional victim. If you say, "Let's define one practical step," do they improve, or does the drama intensify? The one who wants a solution calms down when they see one. The one who wants an audience becomes irritated when they see one. And if you see this pattern repeating, use clear boundaries. I'll listen to you for 20 minutes, then I have to return to my life. That is not cruelty, that is rescue for both sides.
The strategy here: frame control, personal boundaries, one practical form of help, and the rule of I'm not the doctor. The weak response: I'll do anything, just don't leave me. The strong response: I'm here, but I'm not going to treat withdrawal like a threat. If we want to solve this, we'll sit down and define 3 steps. 1, 2, 3. If not, I'm going to give space. Here, you shift the frame from I'm at your mercy to I'm a rational partner. And here's what surprises many people. Professional victims often collapse the moment they face reason. Why? Because reason cuts off the channel of control. Question reversal works powerfully here. Instead of asking, "What do you want me to do for you?" ask, "What step are you going to take today?" And one more thing, define time. I'll listen for 15 minutes. Time is a tangible boundary. The person who respects you will respect the time. The one who is draining you will resent it. And now, the darker part. The moment you stop rescuing them, the professional victim may launch a reputation attack. They will tell people, "He left me." Why? Because they need a villain in the story so they can remain the victim. If there is no villain, then they become responsible, and that is terrifying to them. And if you truly are in a relationship involving violence, threats, or blackmail, seek support from trusted people or qualified professionals. Safety comes first. Now, let's move to type 5, the one who drains you through argument, the one who makes you feel you must convince them or else you failed.
Type 5, the arrogant fool. Not just an ignorant person. Ignorance can be corrected. This is the person who refuses to know. They are in love with their own opinion, even when that opinion is destroying their life. Pattern interrupt. You cannot teach someone who experiences learning as an insult. The scene. Your friend is about to enter an obvious scam investment. You tell him, "This makes no sense." He replies, "You're jealous." You say, "Okay, ask an expert." He replies, "Experts are cowards." You say, "Then don't do it." He replies, "I know better." Then he tries to pull you in. "Come in with me." And now the power dynamic becomes obvious. He does not want advice. He wants a witness. He wants someone to share the decision so that if he falls, he does not fall alone. If you step in, you become insurance against failure. The strategy? Agree and amplify with strategic indifference. The weak response? No, trust me, you have to listen. The strong response? Yeah, it's obvious you see this as the opportunity of a lifetime. I hope it works out for you. Pause. I'm not getting involved. If he says, "You're a coward," say, "Maybe." Then silence. That is silence as dominance. That is how you shrink the value of the attack. An extra technique: drain the argument with a mirror. When he starts spinning in circles, say, "Okay, let's sum this up. You think everyone around you is wrong, and you're the only one who's right, correct?" Now you are holding up a mirror, and that forces him to hear his own arrogance. If he gets angry, the truth landed. If he goes quiet, doubt has begun. And in the end, let reality teach him. Reality is the strongest teacher because it does not argue. Let me give you an everyday version of the arrogant fool. You are sitting in a cafe. He's speaking loudly in front of people. He says, "All these people are idiots. I'm the one who gets it." Then he looks at you as if to say, "Confirm me." If you stay silent, he feels diminished. If you disagree, he starts a fight. That is the trap. Applaud or argue. This is where fogging becomes elegant. The weak response? No, you're wrong. You can't say that. And suddenly you're trapped in endless justification. The strong response? Maybe. Pause. I like when people speak for themselves. Go ahead. That sentence does 2 things. It closes the door to argument, and it resets the frame so you are no longer participating in his theater. Question reversal here is brilliant. If he says, "Why aren't you convinced?" reply, "Why do you need me to be convinced?" That question exposes the real objective, not truth, approval. And no matter what happens, do not enter a war of proving yourself. You are not required to prove your intelligence to someone who experiences intelligence as a threat. And finally, the type that breaks kind people.
the type that pulls you back in even when you already know better.
Type 6, the Scorpion. The Scorpion is the person who repeats betrayal. They lie, then apologize. They cheat, then cry. They hurt you, then ask for another chance. And you forgive because you keep seeing the sweet version they show you right after the damage. This is the most dangerous game. They give you a dose of warmth immediately after a dose of pain, and you become attached to the contrast. You start waiting for the good moment as if it were a reward, and that is how the chain tightens. Pattern interrupt. Forgiving the Scorpion is not always morality. Sometimes it is training them to sting you without consequence. The scene. They break you, then they bring you a gift and say, "I've changed." Then you start doubting your own judgment. Maybe I'm exaggerating. And then comes the final turn. You're the reason I did that. That is blame shifting. That is naked manipulation. And here you need one rule from Machiavelli and Robert Greene combined. Small harm repeats, and tolerated harm becomes permission. You do not need to strike back. It is enough to close the door. The only strategy here is total cutoff, reputation protection, and a final decision. The weak response, but this time, is different. The strong, short response, "I've seen the pattern. Enough. Starting today, no contact." And then you leave. No justification, because justification is a door, and the Scorpion is an expert in doors. And if they try to provoke you with messages like, "You're cruel, you're evil," use fogging, maybe, then silence, then block. That is not winning a verbal war. That is exiting the war. And with the Scorpion, there is one moment you must understand deeply: the return after harm. The Scorpion comes back knowing they were wrong, but what they sell you is a movie. Tears, regret, promises, and your body responds. Your heart softens. Your voice lowers. The good memories return. But here is the brutal pattern interrupt. Their tears may be real, but the pattern is more honest than the tears. The weak response, "Okay, for my sake, I won't leave." The strong, short response, "Decision made." Or one message, "We're done." That's it. Why so short? Because every extra detail becomes negotiation material, and they are experts at negotiating through pain. And for reputation protection, close the matter quietly, not through public scandal. If you expose everything publicly, you enter a spiral of stories, and they are often brilliant with stories. You do not need to win the crowd. You need to save yourself. Now go back and review the 6. The Chaos Engineer, the Bottomless Well, the Smiling Saboteur, the Professional Victim, the Arrogant Fool, and the Scorpion. If faces started peering in your mind, that is normal. But hear this final pattern interrupt. Guilt is not always proof that you are wrong. Sometimes it is proof that you became too used to being easy to control.
You will start hearing things like, "You've changed. You've become arrogant. You were never like this before." All of that is resistance to your transformation, because your change threatens the privileges of people who were taking from you for free. And by the way, if this feels frightening, that is normal. Because the moment you begin to understand dark psychology and manipulation, you realize that life is not always a battle with other people. Sometimes the real battle is with your image of yourself. The image of the nice person who never upsets anyone. That image may be a mask, what Jung called the persona, and that mask may be hiding the shadow of your fear. I am not telling you to hate people. I am telling you, understand them, understand yourself, and take hold of your own reins. And yes, this kind of content unsettles people, but what unsettles them even more is seeing you become free. And here comes the final philosophical shift, from rescuer to master. The rescuer sets himself on fire to keep others warm until he turns to ash. The master builds a lighthouse. The lighthouse gives light, but it does not jump into the water. Whoever wants to be saved will swim toward the light, and whoever wants to drown will keep drowning, but the lighthouse remains standing. In Stoicism, the goal is not for everyone to love you.
The goal is for you to remain steady within yourself. And in Epictetus and the dichotomy of control, what truly belongs to you is your will, your choices, not their opinion of you. And that frees you from the biggest prison of all, pleasing everyone. And now we go deeper into Carl Jung. Jung spoke about the shadow, the part we hide, the part we project onto others, meaning you may be drawn to the rescuer role because inside you there is a shadow, fear of rejection, hunger for acceptance, or terror of loneliness. So you save other people in order to avoid facing yourself. And here is the uncomfortable question. If you stopped saving the people who drain you, who would you be? If your role was no longer the rescuer, would another identity remain? Or were you using rescue as a shield against loneliness? Nietzsche whispers something dangerous here. If you keep staring into the abyss stares back. Meaning, if you live inside chaos long enough, you become chaotic. If you live inside drama long enough, you become dramatic. If you live around betrayal long enough, you begin to distrust everyone. So courage is not saving everyone. Courage is saving yourself from the environment that is poisoning you. And here is the practical conclusion, without sugarcoating. You are not responsible for people's souls. You are responsible for your life, for your home,
for your work, for your health, for the people who depend on you. And that is the true definition of power in power dynamics. That you choose who deserves your time, not who screams the loudest. That you offer the kind of help that lifts people up, not the kind that creates dependency. That you understand manipulation does not always come dressed as aggression. Sometimes it arrives as a tear, or advice, or the words, "I need you." And in the end, I want you to do one test tonight. Write down the names of 3 people, and next to each name, write, "After I talk to this person, do I feel stronger or weaker? Do I feel calmer or more tense? Do I feel more alive or drained?" These are not random feelings, they are a compass. And before you call this cruelty, remember one simple Stoic principle. Compassion without boundaries is not compassion, it is chaos, and chaos devours its owner. You are not required to be an angel. You are required to be aware, and in power dynamics, awareness is the one weapon no one can take from you. And here is a practical sign that you're getting stronger. You will notice that you no longer respond so quickly. You will notice that you breathe before agreeing. You will notice that you ask questions instead of making concessions. That is not coldness, that is maturity. And I leave you with one final question to close the circle. If all you do is rescue, then who is living your life? If your entire life is built around other people's problems, when will you build yourself? Write in the comments which one of the 6 has been the hardest for you to deal with, and subscribe if you want to continue this journey of awareness. And if you want deeper content on dark psychology, manipulation in relationships, and social intelligence, the kind of truth many people are afraid to name, drop the word "deeper" in the comments.